we got another take after take. I guess we can call this pre-SEC Media Days take after take pod. I am Carl Prather, my man Patrick Akers, producer Pat, not here with us again. No, I'm joking. He's been hard at work. We got a lot of amazing things happening here at WAFF. More on that in the coming weeks. It's sooner rather than later, but some really cool stuff that will affect our sports product here and our news product across the board in a very, very positive light. So he has really been hard at it, him and his team. They did a fantastic job. However, I did get the opportunity to see Patrick and his team last Sunday. So our own Kaylee Tinglestad, my teammate in sports, she had the weekend off, had an extended break. Her family was in town and had an opportunity to hang out with them. And so I worked what would be her normal shift over the weekend. And on Sunday at our minor league baseball stadium, our minor league baseball team had a contest there. And our station was giving away some goodies and stuff, backpacks and notepads, you know, all the kind of promotional goodie stuff that TV stations would give away. So we gave that away. Patrick was there with his team and had a chance to hang out with them on, was that Saturday? Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday, last Saturday. And his family came out and, obviously got to see his lovely wife, Amanda, and his wonderful kids and his extended family, moms and dad. So, like, it was great. It was cool just to hang out for a little bit to see him. And we are getting ready for our high school kids are a big, big deal here for those that are listening, maybe outside of North Alabama. But high school football is right on par with our college product here, but we are getting ready to prepare for that and kind of working toward kickoff for our young people. That's basically like 34 days away from now, which is hard to believe. They play on August 20th, which is a Thursday night. We'll have a handful of games there, and then on Friday it will be our week 0, or what many would call week 1. Here in our state, we have 11 weeks to play 10 games for our high school kids. So yeah, it's right around the corner. I need a sabbatical and a half to get my mind properly prepared for all things football, because it's an absolute grind, a joyful, wonderful grind, but a grind nonetheless, as we start the second to last week of August, and we roll all the way right into January with our high school and college product. But yes, I mentioned SEC Media Days going to get underway. I'm going to stay here this year. It'll be my first time missing SEC Media Days in 16 years. So 15 straight, the streak is over. The media days will happen in Tampa, Florida. My teammate Kaylee Tinglestad and a number of other teammates, Trevor Denton, he will be there as well. They'll kind of hold down the fort there for all things media days. We will have a digital show on our 48 Plus app. You can follow that starting next Monday. That'll be around 6:30 each night, Monday through Thursday. And then, of course, we'll have another pod to kind of talk about SEC Media Days. Patrick will be back for that next week to chat about that. We'll touch base with Kaylee. We'll touch base with Trevor. And so I kind of, for me, which is hard to believe that I've done this for 16 years total here. Man, it's like I'm excited for the season, but I'm not quite there yet, if that makes any sense. It's almost like once we kind of get into next week, and I had an opportunity to watch ACC Media Days the last couple of days. I know we'll have some more there. Big 12 kind of got underway. Big 10 will get underway the last week of July. And when I start getting to the end of July and I start kind of diving into, the Phil Steele magazine, and I know that through the month of July and late June, I've, following some fantastic podcasts that I'm a fan of, the Cover 3 podcast, kind of this, they do a summer school special where they go around the country and preview teams with beat writers or reporters in their said cities and demographic, or DMAs rather. So yeah, I'm there, but I still need a little bit more time to kind of like refresh my mind a little bit before we get into that. But before you know it, we'll be there. I'm excited for the season. I think it's going to be an enjoyable, highly competitive season, and looking forward to all of that, which leads us into next Monday. So we get things started next Monday with SEC Media Days. Commissioner Greg Sankey will have his State of the League address next week. Interested to hear some of his thoughts. A lot going on in the world of college football for those that have followed the sport for quite some time. Got a potential bill still running around on the floor of legislation there in Washington, seeing if that will potentially pass. With that, of course, so many storylines within the Southeastern Conference as teams aim to try to find a way to reach the upper echelon of the SEC, but more importantly, try to have an opportunity to clinch one of those 12-team playoff berths as well. So, as I mentioned, things will get underway with the commissioner of the SEC, Mr. Greg Sankey. On Monday, we get things started with Missouri, Oklahoma, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Out of the 4 teams, excited to hear from all of their head coaches. Really excited to hear from Oklahoma because I think a lot of fans, I don't know, I take that back. I don't know if a lot of fans, maybe just in this area, but I think fans that really follow the sport, man, Oklahoma has a chance to be excellent now. Relative to even last year. I know that John Mateer may not have had the best of years at quarterback last season, dealt with a thumb injury. He looks the part at the Manning Passing Academy for whatever that's worth. That does not mean that you are going to be an efficient quality quarterback because you look the part. Look the part is half, I don't even know if it's half the battle, but he looks healthy. Let's just say that. Defense is going to be excellent. Defensive line is going to be out of control. Probably, I'm trying to think about some of my favorite players, and we'll go through this list for me. I have to channel my inner big back, as I like to call it, big back, because if I could be a football player in the league, I know everyone wanted to go with maybe the sexy pick, the quarterback or the wide receiver, the DB, Man, give me David Stone, man. David Stone got his jersey rolled up, got that stomach hanging out, man, and just wrecking shop on the defensive line, number 0 there. He's one of my favorite players, was one of my favorite players last year. Love him. And I think he's going to have a monster year. I know because of the rotation that they had at defensive line and how good they were last season with the depth, I'm interested to see him consistently maybe trying to be a 2 and 3 down every series type of player now that a lot may be asked of you. Time will tell on that, but he is so good. Isaac Catania is as electric as a wide receiver as you'll find in the country that really no one talks about unless you are a follower of SEC football. But he is as good as they come nationally, one of the handful of best wide receivers in all of college football. Obviously, concerns still arise with the offensive line, Coach Beanabo and that group to see if they can kind of find some sort of cohesive unit there. And then as we move on into the running game for Oklahoma, what will that look like? And that's just one of those things that regardless of what Coach Brent Venables says, we actually have to see it. And they were able to, regardless of all of that, because their defense was so excellent, you were able to kind of dance around that, navigate, manufacture offense around that, and reach the college football playoff a year ago. So, I'm interested to see and hear from Oklahoma, but very, very intrigued with the Oklahoma Sooners. I think they're going to be one of the better teams in the Southeastern Conference. We mentioned Tennessee is going to be in the house with Josh Heupel. I know North Alabama and Tennessee Valley fans have a lot of familiarity with the Vols. We got a lot of Tennessee volunteer fans here in the northern part of the state. I think Josh Heupel is excellent. We know what he likes to do with those wide splits and some of the offense he likes to run. Got to have a quarterback to be able to manufacture and produce the type of offense that Vols fans have kind of come accustomed to with their playoff run 2 years ago and potentially another playoff run if their quarterback didn't get hurt during that season against South Carolina. But who will be the quarterback? From all indications, there is a quarterback battle, obviously, but it looks like the incoming freshman there has a strong chance potentially to start. George McIntyre still within the program and has been there for a couple of years. So interested to see what Josh Heupel says. And I would assume, just pure assumption, I don't know. I would think that this battle would go into fall camp. What good does it do any coach, if you're having this type of battle to name a starter before you get into camp, before the proverbial live bullets are flying for real and things get real. So would love to hear from Coach Hyde. But listen, here's what I will tell you. Their wide receivers are going to be excellent. I love Mike Matthews, for those that follow Vols football, and I think he can have a big year, especially if the quarterback position comes to fruition and produces at that level and is an adequate position there that can maybe help the offense there. I think the defense is going to be improved. We know what Jim Knowles, as a former defensive coordinator at Penn State and Ohio State, has become accustomed to. But still, time will tell. You've had a spring install under your belt. Now you actually got to come and try to go do it as you head into camp and get ready for that first game. I think it's Georgia Tech who you play there sometime earlier in the year. Could be incredibly wrong. Don't have the schedule out in front of me, but interested to hear from him. How about Will Stein? I am familiar with Will Stein solely because I am from Bullitt County, which is the county below Jefferson County in the state of Kentucky, which is where the city of Louisville is in Jefferson County. Will played high school football there, played at the University of Louisville. He knows that area very well. Of course, coming from Oregon, really, really, really enjoy his journey and from UTSA and Oregon. And schematically, I just love what he likes to do offensively. And there are a lot of players at Kentucky that you may have heard of. We just don't know how the hell all of this will come together. Let's just be real. I mean, there's a lot of names, familiar names. But, this is Will's first job. You're trying to do whatever you possibly can to kind of make this a cohesive unit. And I know him and his staff, you put your best foot forward, but more importantly, you have to see it for yourself as well. Kenny Minchie will be the starter there coming from Notre Dame. And we will see what this unit looks like, because I don't know what this looks like. I think they could be a surprise, but I can't objectively say one way or another because it's all new. I say this all of the time when we deal with college football teams, especially as I've kind of gotten older over the last 15 years or so. I always like looking at teams, and it's difficult now with the transfer portal, and the guys moving here or there and not being a cohesive unit as it used to be. But I always ask myself, for whatever preseason polls are or teams moving into a new year, how many do you have the least amount of unknowns heading into your year? And that's how I kind of categorize national championship contenders, teams that don't have a lot of questions, or the least amount of questions and more answers than questions. So I don't know with Will in Kentucky. I like his staff. From his previous stops relative to what he is trying to accomplish, I love that. I think Kenny Minchie has an opportunity to do some really nice things there. But once again, even battling C.J. Carr at Notre Dame a year ago, we still don't know what this unit looks like across the board from all aspects. So I'm just intrigued to hear from Will as well, and what he has to say and how the journey has been for him and his staff and trying to get everything acclimated over in Lexington. Should be interesting to hear from him as well. Missouri, who no one talks about, all they do is just win 9 games. And we know Ahmad Hardy is battling back from a tragic incident with him. Hope him and his health and speedy recovery for him. But all Missouri does, just keep winning games. They're going to do what they do, and good luck. Good luck. So we know what they are capable of each and every year. So interested to hear from him as well. Obviously, I'm saying interested to hear from everyone because, I just think that this may be one of the most competitive leagues in quite some time, and very, very excited to see where all of the chips fall where they may, because I think everyone has enough questions that you say to yourself, they can get got. Who has the least amount of questions is what you should ask yourself when you're dealing with, if you have a favorite team in the Southeastern Conference heading into the year. On Tuesday, Auburn, Georgia, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. Obviously, for fans here in North Alabama and the Yellowhammer State, it'll be Auburn Day on On Tuesday, Alex Golesh making his SEC Media Days debut. We had a Take After Take digital show that airs on 48 Plus, and we call it a Yellowhammer Sports Talk, where we go around and talk to other sportscasters within the state. And we did a preview for SEC Media Days, and we were just discussing Auburn. And, I basically threw out there that I just like that I'm hearing functionality from Auburn. What does that mean? Is functionality going to help you with your offensive line or being able to manufacture offense or make plays on the football field? No. However, I just love everything that I have heard from Alex Golesh. Now, I'm interested to hear what his message will be after a spring, a winter conditioning, kind of knowing what you got, because you know what you got after December because the portal was closed. So I'm interested to see, just being with your program and your young men for a spring, 20-plus days of install, and Byron Brown, your quarterback from South Florida, and a number of holdovers that have come from South Florida with you, including your staff. Just interested to hear his message, where he believes this program is at. And I think that Alex is one of those guys that he kind of, he doesn't have to tell us everything. I mean, that's none of our business. We just want to see the product on the field. But I just think that relative to a lot of coaches, I think he just basically tells you where they are at. We all know this will be a process. No one is expecting Auburn to go 12-0. Be great for Auburn fans if they do. But I'm just interested to hear his message. Where is the Auburn program infrastructure-wise? Where are they at right now as we head into the third week of July and as they prepare for fall camp in a couple of weeks to get ready for their season opener against Baylor in Atlanta and Mercedes-Benz Stadium? Georgia Bulldogs, what's weird about one of the elite programs, 4 or 5 elite programs in all of college football? I haven't heard anyone say, what thing about them. And I could have threw out the word, but no, has anyone mentioned anything about Georgia all offseason at all? It is baffling to me. Nothing. Everyone talks about a lot of other quarterbacks in all of college football. Rightfully so. Quality kids, guys that have done it, maybe have had a gigantic leap from mid-year to the end of the year. What about Gunnar Stockton, y'all? All I know that young man does is win. And he wins a lot. And he makes plays. And he's a steady hand. And I got all of these absolute swamp things for athletes around me that are mutants that can do a lot of different things and absolutely wreak havoc on your life, especially defensively. The mentality that Coach Smart and Kirby and his staff and Glenn Schumann on the defense, what they are asking their players to do. And no one is talking about them. I mean, you can make an argument for Georgia. They have the best quarterback. They have the best corner. They may have one of the best defensive linemen. They have one of the best offensive linemen. Ellis Robinson is excellent. Never hadn't heard a thing about him. I mean, nothing. I could be wrong. Shake your head yes or no if you're driving or listening to this or watching the video of this podcast. But I have not heard a thing. Not anything. It has been radio silent from national pundits with Georgia, and it baffles me. But safe to say, Kirby Smart does not care about any media, anything. He just wants to go on the field, and he wants his team to absolutely cave your face in. And it has bode well for them during his tenure in Athens. We mentioned Auburn, we mentioned Georgia, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. Really intrigued with these two programs. How about a role reversal? Leading into last year, you're looking at Vanderbilt to see if they can be respectable and make a big leap with Diego Pavia at the helm again. South Carolina, you remember 2 seasons ago, their 9 wins, a lot of expectations, fell short of maybe those expectations. And now they actually, hey, listen, Kendall Briles and Lenore Sellers, college football diehards, if you know about Mr. Briles, Coach Briles. I am very intrigued to see him and Lenore Sellers together in Columbia. And he's bringing Nick Harbor, Coach Beamer, along with Lenore. I forgot who else is coming with them. But we know the height, weight measurables. We've heard from Nick Harbor and being on Bruce Feldman's freak list for a gazillion years with his height, weight, speed measurables, all that stuff. So, I'm interested to see just what this offense looks like under Kendall and some of the talent they have across the board. And we know what Evan Stewart, what he brings. He just wrecks one side of the field. We know what type of player he is. But, I'm interested to see what Shane has to say, too. Expectations, no one is outside, literally, to me, Georgia and South Carolina. No one's saying a word about either one of those teams. It's almost like Vanderbilt and Coach Clark Lee. It's kind of like, oh, that was great the last 2 seasons. Now what? And they are poised to start a true freshman in Jared Curtis heading into this year. Man, Godspeed. I think, listen, quarterback, center on the offensive line, tackle, defensive tackle, to come in and start as a true freshman or take significant snaps at those positions against these absolute grown people, physically mature players that you're having to go against or defend or try to beat at your position is a huge undertaking. So, I'm Jerry Curtis. You're up, my brother. We will hear from Coach Lee and what he thinks and how Jared has fared throughout. I believe he enrolled early, and I don't know. This Vanderbilt fans can tell me this. I'm pretty sure he did to get himself prepared to be the game 1 starter there. So on Wednesday, it's Alabama Day. Kalen DeBoer and company will be in the house. I believe Ryan Coleman Williams will be there. Bray Hubbard and Xavier Brown will be there. Listen, Alabama's secondary is going to be second to none. Outside of Notre Dame, name me 2 other defensive backfields that you may want in college football. Bama's going to be excellent on the back end. I think Notre Dame's going to be excellent on the back end as well. But, man, Xavier along with Sab and some of the other Bray Hubbard that's going to be there, man, just animals. They can go and take it away from you, and that could be huge for down the stretch and being able to kind of have a quote-unquote a no-fly zone back there on the back end. Kalen's going to be asked a lot of questions. I'm interested to hear from him. Listen, you're not going to get an answer about quarterback. So anyone, get that out of the way. You're never going to hear that. You're going to hear about their battle, Keelan Russell and Austin Mack going into the summer. You can listen to this coaster. You can listen to these microphones. And all of them, if you talk to them, they'll probably, if they could talk, they would say that one or the other is the front runner to be the starter. We don't know. No one in the hell knows. Don't act like you do. You don't. You don't know. They don't know. Only people that know are the coaches, and they just don't know relative to actually seeing the competition as they head into fall camp and kind of solidifying a starter there. But yeah, interested to hear from, excited to hear from Kalen and his expectation. Listen, all this man has done is won 9 games year 1 and went to the playoff year 2. Got a contract extension. Bama's fans' expectation is what you make it. Do you believe they're a playoff team? Well, then your expectation is they need to make the playoff. Do you believe they are above and beyond that? That's for you to decipher. I don't know. I think they have just as many maybe quote-unquote question marks as they do answers, but their question marks could be answers for a whole lot of other teams in college football. So, once again, yes, offensive line going to be a question mark. We don't know what that looks like. What does the running game look like? I bet you if you wanted to play an adult drinking game for how many times you hear physical and question that word being used in a question toward Kalen DeBoer and or his players next week, you would be a little woozy. Just gonna say that. Be prepared to hear physical a gazillion times next week when it comes to Alabama and the questions that will arise from that. John Summerall, and Huntsville native, North Alabama native, he'll make his debut at SEC Media Days. Excited for John and his staff and what they have continued to learn about their program, how far away they are from being consistently competitive within this tough league. Excited to hear from him as well. And then, of course, Ole Miss and Texas A&M will round out the day there. The Rebels literally have one of the better rosters, one of the 3 or 4 best rosters, maybe top 2. If you really want to think about it, like, how good is their roster? It's pretty good across the board. Of course, Trinidad Chambliss and Keywan Lacey are just 2 Heisman contenders, and defensively they're good. So I'm happy and excited for Pete Golding to have this all his. And we know what Texas A&M is about. Reached the playoff a year ago. Will Marcel Reed take the next step? They're replacing a lot of talent, including York, the linebacker, who I thought was one of the best linebackers in the league, just so instinctive, so intelligent, knew where all his checks and keys and the whole nine was. He was fun to watch for them defensively, kind of leading that defense at linebacker. But yeah, interested to hear from him. And then on Thursday, we rounded out with Arkansas, LSU, Mississippi State, and Texas. New coach at Arkansas. We know Lane Kiffin and company will be in the house. There'll be so many questions asked about, can they win now? $90+ million. They're expected to win now. Roster, a lot of really good dudes. Jordan Seaton and the quarterback, and DBs, and Whit Weeks is back, and I mean they have the freak show in Trey'Dez Green, and so yes, the expectations are through the roof for the Bayou Bengals heading into this college football season as well. Mississippi State, they're bringing Kamario Taylor, and fellas, ladies, everyone in between, need to check this guy out. Listen, I don't know relative to him being injured last year, but you want to talk about a kid at quarterback that he figures this thing out? Ooh, Jeff Levy will have something cooking in Starkville. Love Kamario. Think he's got a chance to do some really special things. So interested to see his progression and Coach Levy discussing his quarterback and all the things that mean, because he can go now. Remember that name, man. Kamario, he's good. From his limited action that we saw a year ago. But, man, he's got it. He's got it, and I'm excited to see his growth as a quarterback over an offseason and spring camp and heading into fall camp. And then, of course, listen, they're going to be everyone's favorite. We can dance around this all we want. They will be the favorite. If there is a 100% percentile of people consist in a consensus vote for the preseason pick to win the SEC, it will be the Texas Longhorns. They're loaded for bear. Steve Sarkisian and company are going for not the SEC championship. They're going for the whole ball of wax, the national championship. Arch Manning's back, Raleek, and Hollywood Smothers are running back. We know Cam Coleman and some of his talents there. Defensively, Colin Simmons is an animal. They're loaded from a talent standpoint. I mentioned this and used this analogy once before. Interested to hear if people will ask him. Only time will tell. They got a lot of Lamborghinis. They got a lot of Porsches and Bentleys and Rolls Royces, right? I want to know in their garage if they have to get from their home base to point B, and it's through the mud and through some woods, and you got to navigate through a creek. Do you have the F-150? Do you have the Silverado? Do you have the Denali truck? Do you have the dually truck that can navigate and go through? Meaning, can you be physical enough? Can you get gritty and doggish enough and find a way to win nasty? And when you need nasty, can you call on nasty to get you to your end destination? We shall see. The only time will tell. We don't know that. But I'm pretty sure that Steve Sarkisian will be asked just that from the throng of media across the SEC Media Days next week. Like, subscribe, Take After Take. You can find us on Spotify, Apple iTunes. You can also find us on our 48 Sports Zone app. That's available right now to our Apple users on Apple iTunes, or if you're an Android user, Google Play Store. That's where you can find our video there. You can also find our video on our YouTube channel on WAFF. You can also find us on 48 Plus as well. That's where you can find extended coverage and great content from all of our digital content from WAFF each and every day. That's on the 3 download. You can download them from the 3 different digital platforms. That's Hulu, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. So if you have any of those, you can just go find the 48 Plus app, like the edition sign, and you'll be able to get that as well. That's going to do it for a quick SEC preview, letting you know how that shakes out for next week. We'll be back here to kind of recap the week that was on Thursday and kind of talk about the sights and sounds of SEC Media Days from Tampa. Until then, listen, enjoy the weekend, hit a pool, get yourself excited because college football is right around the corner. Take care.